Okay, so the last time we created all of our different files and folders. We created a folder for fins, 3 additional layers in it, and a folder for body with 4 layers in there. And of course, Sketch was not in any of those folders. It's just hanging out down there on the bottom. Now what I would like for you to do is come up here and click this lock icon. And what's going to happen is it's going to lock everything. And that's a good thing because we can very quickly draw in the incorrect layer in Flash. It happens really easily. You don't realize it's happening, and then when you do, it's too late and you have to go cut and paste and ruin all the stuff that you've done. So by locking everything and only unlocking one layer at a time, it's really going to help prevent any heartache down the road. So if we can get in the habit of that now, you will be thankful for it. The layer we are going to draw in, though, is the body layer. Not the body folder. Don't click on that. The body layer. And since we are going to draw on this layer, you can go ahead and come back and unlock just that one layer. Now for the sake of space, I'm going to drag this guy back up here so we can kind of see what I'm doing. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw, not with the paintbrush tool, I'm just kind of giving you a little idea here, this body hole shape. And we're going to do it with the line tool. So come over here to your toolbar and click on this little diagonal line, the line tool. The shortcut is N on your keyboard if you're a shortcut person. Now whenever you select the line tool, if you look over here on the right hand side, your properties panel becomes all about the line tool. So we're going to get our line tool set up before we even draw our first line. First thing we're going to do is pick what color our line is going to be. If I click on this little box, it'll give me this whole big color picker I can choose from. Now in your mind, when you create a spaceship, you're probably going to use darker colors like gunmetals and stuff like that. And you can change that later, so don't feel like you're stuck with whatever color you choose. Any color you pick in Flash, you can always go back and change. So that's one of the great things about Flash. It's never permanent when it comes to color. But for right now, what I would like for you to do is pick a bright color because it's really hard to see black on a sketch. So it'll be easy to miss some spots. So I'm going to choose red. You can pick whatever color you'd like. The next little guy right here, where the pink bucket is, this is your fill color. Now since this is just a line, there is no fill. It's just one singular line. There's no inside color, it's just a stroke. But what we can do with our line is we can adjust the stroke weight. Now I just drew a line. You don't have to do that. I just want to show you. If I select that line and come back here, your stroke weight is how fat your line is. So if I make it 200, it looks like a hot tamale. If anybody would like to bring me hot tamales, I would not be disappointed. They're delicious. Or I can make it really, really skinny. It's called a hairline. What we need to have is a bright colored line that has a stroke weight of 5, please. And that's going to be a thick enough line that when we are drawing, we can kind of see what's happening and where we've been and where we've missed. So again, red, 5. So I'm going to zoom in. And we're going to start by drawing a line, and we're going to start right here, right where this nose cone ends, right here, where my mouse is swimming around. And our line is going to extend to the very end of the hole. This end area is going to be our exhaust vent. We'll draw that later. So we're going to go from right here to right here with our line tool. So again, I'm going to get my line tool. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. I'm going to let go. Now you're probably looking at this line like, how in the world is this going to make a spaceship? Well, I'll show you. You come back here and get your black arrow tool. You can then come over here, and if you hover on your line, you can push it with your mouse, or you can pull it by holding down your left click key. So I can now take a straight line and turn it into a curved line. So just with a little bit of a push, I can create my curve of my hull. Okay, pardon me guys, I had to pause my screen for a second. I was looking at my toolbar and I couldn't find the next tool we needed. So what I did is I expanded my toolbar out so I could show it to you. So we need to continue to draw the rest of our shape, but before we do that, there's a button that we need to turn on. So if you look at your tools bar, you can actually see it on yours. If you look all the way to the bottom when you're in the line tool or the black arrow, it should be there for each of them. You're going to see what looks like a little magnet, and that's called snap to objects. I like to call it the button of happiness because if you leave this button on, you're most of the time going to be pretty happy and flash. If you leave it turned off though, it's going to cause you a world of hurt. Now I'm going to put my tools bar back over here. What happens is when you leave the magnet on and I start at this little edge where I left off at the end of my line, and I'm really careful and always try to begin where I left off. When I get back to where I started, watch my line. See how it wants to snap in there? The magnet literally acts like a magnet, and it will help your ends connect to each other. Because in Flash, come back in here and curve my lines out. In Flash, if there's any holes in your shape, it will not let you color it. Now, I would know this didn't work. I'm going to erase a little corner here to show you. If I have a hole, see how it won't color? It's because it's like a water balloon. It's spilling all the water out. But if I don't have a hole, so I'm going to snap it back together. Again, I can fill it with any color. So make sure your magnet's turned on. Always leave your magnet on. Finish the rest of this shape, and then come back with the black arrow and curve those lines. Now be sure when you get right here that you curve it the opposite direction. We're not going to go along this line. You'll see here in a little bit why, but you're going to go the opposite direction. You don't have to be drastic about it. Just a little bit. It'll be just fine. Again, this is all happening in the body layer. Once you have this drawn, come over here to your tools bar and find the paint bucket tool. Paint bucket tool is just like it was in Photoshop. It fills color. Your properties panel will help you choose a color. Just pick any color in the world because we're going to get rid of it. And click and paint inside of the hull. So if color actually shows up, then congratulations, you did not have any holes in your shape. If it won't fill with color, then you need to go back and make sure your magnet is turned on and re-snap your corners together. Now would be a great time to save too. Now at the beginning I showed you that the move tool, the black arrow, lets you move objects. Now this is what's tricky about Flash. Flash recognizes your stroke, this red line, as something different than your fill, this turquoise color. So I just click once and pull away, it just broke off of my fill color. Well, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the whole thing. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to click once, I'm going to select my stroke, and I'm going to pull away. Well, now it just grabbed that line. What if I double click on it? Okay, now it just grabbed the whole stroke. If you want an entire object that you've drawn, no matter how complex it is, the best way is to just click and drag and highlight that area with your black arrow, and it will select it. Now you know it's selected. I'm going to zoom in here because you can kind of see this little dotted pattern over everything. If it's not selected, it's just plain old color. So with the whole thing selected, if you needed to move an object, that's how you'd do it. Okay, you can click once on the inside, so you're just highlighting the fill, the inside color, and you can delete it. We don't need it. We'll come back and color our rocket ship to look really fancy when we've got everything drawn. But for now, we're just going to leave it empty. Okay, what I'm going to do is have you save and move on to the next video lesson.